Hey, good morning, and welcome to our 1 plus 1 equals 7 world. A world in which nothing makes sense, but we're expected to just grin, bear it, and go with the flow. I remember when President Zuma was in charge of South Africa, and there was a huge furore about state capture. And all of these private sector interests had got their claws into the president, and they were using him to exfiltrate the wealth of the nation through into private bank accounts and basically enrich themselves at the cost of the average South African rather. And I look at what's going on in the world today, and I'm thinking, Zuma looked like a choir boy. The truth is, we have major governments around the world in the grip of powers, forces, foreign or domestic, who seem to be playing them like marionettes, like puppets, and controlling their internal, medical, and foreign policies. We got a situation in Canada in which very, very clearly the Canadian truckers have made a spectacular pushback to their medical strategy and have got the overwhelming support of the people. And you've got this chap called Trudeau who hasn't earned a day of respect from his people. First of all, retreating to his bunker and then coming back and saying that he's going to be fighting these truckers. What's he talking about? It's like a firefly laughing at the sun. Then we got Germany. Now, this is a country with actual form in terms of fascism. Fascism to the extent that genocides took place. And they are also taking a very handed approach to mandatory vaccination and that sort of thing. Austria, the next door country, the first to be annexed in the Anschluss by Germany during the Second World War, they're even more draconian than the Germans. Italy, the same. I have friends over there where day by day, the encroachment of their so-called freedom pass, a pass which via the vaccine gives you access to normal life in society, continues to stride on. United Kingdom, where I live, Britain, we have the most appalling shambles in government at the moment where the Prime Minister is more like a stubborn stain than a valiant warrior fighting for his office. He has brought the whole of the political system into total and utter disrepute. Everybody knows this to be so. And yet, there's a line in a French singer's song. It's called Ébloui par la nuit. And she says that tu es venu en sifflant, meaning you just walk past, you're expected to walk past whistling as if nothing is going on when our very states are being captured. Let's go back to Africa again. Most Africans don't want this vaccination. Most Africans are looking for alternative modalities for dealing with this so-called pandemic. None are being tolerated or seen. Why? Because the governments which the African people elected are in the pockets of these kind of nebulous powers in the shadows. Again, that is why we're living in a world in which 1 plus 1 suddenly makes 7 and everybody's perfectly okay with it. None of it makes sense. And you know what? The way you and I contribute towards it, especially, if I may say so, the middle and the political classes in all of these countries, the professionals and so on, they contribute towards this madness with their silence. And their silence because they're afraid to stick their heads up above the parapet and push back because it might hurt their privileges. Well, look, my dear friends, brothers, sisters, call yourselves what you will. If you don't push back and establish your human rights and the sovereignty of the citizens of your country, you won't have any privileges left, because they are the low-hanging fruit. Once the ordinary people have been done away with, they are coming for you, the so-called exalted ones who think you've got so much to lose that it's better to duck beneath the parapet, stay silent, and hope that you won't be touched. I'll tell you one last thing. I never believed in my life that I would be wearing a placard which said, "My body, my choice, not in this lifetime." I really, really, really thought that if I was going to be doing that sort of thing, I would have to be, a university student, not a man of my age and experience. But it occurred to me, it finally became clear last summer, that if you're not in it, you can't win it. It's like the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you can't possibly win the jackpot. If you don't speak up, there is no way in heaven or hell that these people won't run roughshod over all of us. And actually, it's not for them to win. It's for us to surrender. If we shut up, stay mute, pretend everything is normal, agree that 1 + 1 = 7, well, by the time we've woken up, they will come and show us that actually 1 + 1 = 97. We will see far worse than we ever possibly bargained for. Thanks for listening.